If I've got a resentment in me, if I've got an anger in me, if I've got a confusion in me, a dissonance, if I've got an ignorance in me, if I've got a vengefulness in me, all of that binds me to the nature of my resentment. I am quantumly entangled. And what they say in quantum entanglement is the remedy for quantum entanglement is quantum entanglement. In other words, entangle deeper, go beyond it. So this is a perception, this is a cognition, this is a belief, this is a scar on the psyche, a schema. But I can go beyond perception. We spoke before, Brian, about the singularity, the geometric point, the self, the soul in each of us. It's a real place. That's beyond perception. It's beyond cognition. So entanglement in God, entanglement in faith, Christ, whatever you want to call it, is going beyond the entanglement of any kind of perception or belief. So it's like the ultimate panacea, it's the ultimate antibody. People think that compassion is weak. They get quite offended, but I say, because you haven't really experienced it, and I understand that, but I'm talking about going to a place where every perception is wiped out, every fear is wiped out, and we fix it at the level of the geometric point. That's the work, that's the work. As Geoff said, or Madame de Saltzman said, because she was one of his top students, Madame de Saltzman, this powerful woman, you know, one of the greatest exponents of Gurdjieff's fourth way. Are you doing the work? Yeah, I'm understanding the intellect. You're saying intellectual things, but are you doing the work? Are you doing the work? Are you doing the work? I love that she was so direct, because the intellectuals would come in and they would say stuff, and she's saying, yeah, but are you doing the work? The bottom line is, you say you want to change the world, but you're 4 stone overweight. You can't change your own waist measurement. Don't tell me you've got autonomy when you're being tapped out by cigarettes 30 times a day. You say you've got autonomy, you want to change the world, but you can't stop yourself from gossiping about somebody outside Costa on a Friday afternoon. In Judaism, when they go into the microcosm, they're really serious about their work. They say that gossip is murder, because we're assassinating character. That's the level they take it to. And they say that embarrassing somebody is drawing blood, because the blood comes up and they flush. You know, how deep do you want to go? What we think, what we say, what we do goes out as spirit, as energy, and has an effect in the world. So why would anybody intelligent, once they know that, think or say or do unkind things? You wouldn't, because it's all going to come back. But that's a shift in consciousness, that's a shift in perception. Yeah. And we're not going to get that shift while we're full of fossil fuel, while we're full of, meats and overeating and overdrinking and indulging in stuff. We're not going to have the energy to go outside the stratosphere of old perception. We need a finite energy, we need a rocket fuel. I remember talking to an RAF guy in my house once, who was with some martial arts friends of mine, and I said to him, it's probably ignorant, I said, this is about 20 years ago. I said, but what's to stop your jet just going straight out the stratosphere? And he said, energy. I haven't got the fuel. He said, I won't get out the energy on jet fuel. He said, I'd need rocket fuel. I'd need a greater fuel to break the stratosphere. And I remember thinking, it's cryptic, but he's talking about perception. We won't break old perception and go into new perception with fossil fuel. We need to contract, we need to get a finer fuel, and that fuel is called spirit, the Holy Spirit. In alchemy they call it the philosopher's stone. In Japanese Aikido they call it the attractive forces, chi, ki, prana, pneuma. There's lots of names for it. I've studied it. I feel it, and I'm led to study different areas, and you find the same reference points. So we have the ability, the soul is a light, the soul is a tincture of this, but we have the ability to expand the soul. In other words, they call it being Christed, so the soul is magnified. By placing ourselves between these two forces as a filament, we can Christ ourselves. But before we do that, we need to make sure the body's tempered, which I said before. We need to make sure that we are hermetically sealed, so we're not leaking all over Twitter, we're not leaking all over Facebook, we're not spurting our seminal energies into a tissue, watching abused demonically abused, porn stars. We're not doing any of that. We're not contributing to all that. We're bringing the energy in, we're conserving it, we're training it, and we're imposing it in a beautiful way. Either it's in a beautiful way or we don't impose it at all.